Fluffy Records back at it again with Mail Time. It's been so long since I've done a Mail Time video. Actually, I think the last time I did one was probably 4 or 5 months ago now. It feels like an eternity since I've done one. So I have a stack of records to show today. By the way, I'm showing off the Sooners jersey and the baseball LA Dodgers because, the World Series is about to happen, and hopefully the Dodgers uh, get into this final and hopefully they win. But records. So I have about 10 records to show today. Online purchases. If you guys are not aware of Mail Time, it's pretty much my vinyl purchases online. eBay, Discogs, online. You get the premise. So I'm going to start off with some of the earlier stuff that I purchased. Actually, one of the first ones that I'm going to show is an early purchase from about 2 months ago now. This is 1974 Headhunters Survival of the Fittest. This is an awesome 1974 um, funk leaning record with the Headhunters. I believe the Herby Hancock and the Headhunters had already recorded that album. This, on the other hand, is on Arista Freedom, a great label that reissued a ton of. Well, they reissued and they put out a lot of jazz stuff. So this is somewhat jazzy, but this is more funk. And look at that. Look at the lineup of musicians on here. We have Benny Maupin, who plays bass clarinet, Paul Jackson, bass, Blackbird McKnight, who is probably the lead guitarist. Let's see, Bill Summers, percussionist, and Mike Clark, the drummer, and also a percussionist. But yeah, um, this has a lot of vocals on it, which I personally like. I like when there's a record, especially a jazz record with vocals. I know it's not it for a lot of people. By the way, I picked this one up through Instagram. Shout out to the Instagram user here. I forgot your name, but you know who you are if you watch the video. This guy puts out a lot of stuff for sale, a lot of sometimes rare stuff, sometimes uh, some cheap heat, and they're always in the best condition. This is VG plus, so I'm happy to have this finally in the collection. Headhunters, Survival of the Fittest, awesome. 1975, I think this one came out, not in 74. But another record that came out in the 70s, and I believe this is actually 1974 this time, which, by the way, Marty in Oregon, great channel, started to record vinyl related videos. So sub to him. We'll be leaving his link, channel link in the description below. This is a 1974 record on Prestige, and I believe, let's see, who's the label that put this out recently? I think it's Jazz Dispensary recently put this one out a couple months back. But this is Patrice Russian or Russian Prelusion. This is a white label promo that I found on eBay, courtesy of a link through the Jazz Bumps Discord. So thank you to, I can't remember who put this one out, who put the link out, but when I saw this, I immediately purchased it because I thought it was a good price, especially for a white label promo. Patrice Russian, of course, is a piano player and a keyboardist. She has, I think this is her first record, and she was about 20 years old. Yeah, 20 years old. This is a great jazz fusion, just greatness. And I'm happy that this finally got reissued because it deserved a reissue. And so now people can finally pick this one up for a good price. I don't know how much these jazz dispensary reissues go for, but I'm sure they're cheaper than what I paid for this. Like I said, I only paid $60 for this, so thank you again for that. I'm happy to finally have this one in the collection. Here is another record. I can't remember when this one was put out, but I've been wanting this one for a long time now, and this I've been showing a lot of Herby Hancock previously, and I'm happy to finally have this one. This is one I probably would have found in the bins here locally, but I just couldn't wait. And when I saw this for a good price, I said, why not? So I think this is 1970 or 71. Herbie Hancock Mondishi on the Warner Brothers label. This is a great fusiony record. And of course, this is right around a time where Herbie Hancock was doing his electric piano playing. So you're going to be hearing some good, good stuff. So yeah, Herbie Hancock on Fender Rhodes piano, Buster Williams on bass, Billy Hart on drums, Eddie Henderson on trumpet flugelhorn, Benny Maupin on bass clarinet, alto flute, and Julian Priester on trombones, Ndugu, who is Leon Chancellor, who's on the other record that I just showed, on drums and percussion, and Ron Montrose on guitar, Jose Cepito Arias on congas timbales. I could have just had you guys read that, but I did it instead. This is awesome. I think you can still find this for a good price, original format, and I'm not sure if this has already gotten reissued, or at least a proper reissue. I'm sure there's plenty of reissues of this out there, but I'm not sure how good it sounds compared to the original stuff. But yeah, Wandishi, I'm happy to have it. This is, like I said, 1970, 71. Um, right around the time he was doing his electric piano stuff, which is my favorite time of Herbie Hancock's personally. Warner Brothers. I love when a jazz record is on this label, and it sounds fantastic. Going back to 1958, we have this record that also has gotten a nice reissue a couple years back, but I was fortunate to have won this auction on eBay few about a month ago now, and I am I think I've gotten to the point where I've gotten most of this musician's early stuff, or at least the ones on the big labels. This is Chet Baker in New York, West Coast jazz legend, of course. Chet Baker going to the East Coast around this time to play with East Coast jazz legends, and this is an original 1958 pressing on Riverside. So Chet Baker here is accompanied by none other than Johnny Griffin on tenor sax, Al Haig on piano, Paul Chambers bass, Philly Joe Jones on drums. This is an awesome quintet, quartet, because sometimes it'll be a quartet, sometimes it'll be a quintet. This is an awesome recording. They play Polka Dots and Moonbeam. They do a nice Miles Davis tune on here. And of course, they do two Benny Golson, not one, but two Benny Golson written tunes, compositions. I admire the tunes that Benny Golson wrote, and I say that I'll say that for any other jazz musician who's ever written anything. Um, but Benny Golson is one of those that is one of my personal favorites in terms of writing music and of course playing. Um, a lot of people probably don't know, won't know what a tune is written, who a tune is written by, until they see the name. And some people might be surprised, like that Benny Golson wrote a ton of tunes during this time and later on. But of course, Chet Baker on here is really, really, really just absolutely on fire. This is one of the Riverside records that I've been looking out for some time now. I want to say probably a year or 2 years now. And the saying "curiosity kills the cat" or whatever. I have the Craft reissue, which is a stereo of Chet Baker in New York, and I was just curious to hear how it compares to this original. And there are very few cases where I'll say that the reissue is sounds so much better than the original. And this is that matter. This is that case that I found that this reissue knocked the knocked it out the park compared to this original. Now, again, this is in stereo. This original one is in mono. I know that's not fair. A lot of people will say that's not fair, and I get that. And but I was just curious, I for all the other Chet Baker originals that I have with compared to the reissue, I always compare them, and I never really had that case where I sided with the reissue more than the original. But this one, I mean, the instruments were more present on this reissue than on the original. You hear the trumpet so much better, more clear, more forward. The drums are, I mean, the drums are kind of off on both, but I prefer it on here more than the original. And overall, I just thought, man, I can't believe this was or this one was I mean, you can pick this one up for $20, I think. Pick this up, you guys. I think the only time I ever said that, an original and a reissue were neck and neck in terms of sound was John Coltrane's Ballads, the Impulse title, where I compared my white label original to the Acoustic Sounds or Analog Productions Acoustic Sounds reissue that they put out a few years ago, and I was just mind blown by that. But now for this case, the Chet Baker in New York Craft reissue is the way to go, in my personal opinion. So let me know if you guys have the reissue already, and if you guys have ever tried to compare a reissue with an original, if you guys are fortunate to have the original. But let me know if you guys enjoy the Chet Baker's reissues that Kraft put out. That's something that I would like to know in the comments below. Alright, so this next one is another Riverside that I decided to purchase on eBay. I already have a copy, but the one that I already have is a 45. This is a 33, and it's an earlier pressing. What record am I talking about? This is Bill Evans' Waltz for Debbie. Bill Evans Trio. This is a later Riverside. This is on that Orpheum label, Riverside Orpheum pressing, which I personally have been absolutely been loving these pressings. Some of the first ones that I bought was I found a copy of Sunday at the Village Vanguard a while back at a local store, and as well as Portrait in Jazz. Honestly, the jacket is pretty rough. There's a corner cut here. There's ring wear. There's like there's that missing part on the backside, but honestly, it's still intact. Everything seems intact, and that's all that matters for me. At least I don't care if if the cover is that beat up, as long as it's still intact and as long as you can still see most of it, I don't mind. Anyways, back to the music. Waltz for Debbie, 1961. Um, this was recorded at the Village Vanguard. This was right right before Scott LaFaro's tragic death. Um, this, in my opinion, is my favorite Bill Evans trio recording. Out of all of the Bill Evans stuff that is out there, this is my favorite. And yeah, this is one where I knew I had to find an early copy of. I have the Bill Evans box that Analog Productions put out. A year now or 2 years now? But like I said, I've been wanting to get rid of the 45s, just to clear up some space. A lot of these 45s these days are in like this gatefold jacket, and it's double disc. I honestly am kind of done with the 45s, to be honest. So if there's like an exception, I'll leave it at that. But in terms of Falls for Debbie, I'm happy to have this. I'm happy to have the Sunday at the Village Vanguard. I'm happy to have every other Bill Evans that I have on 33. I know that Kraft put this one out, uh, as well as Sunday at the Village Vanguard already, probably either this year or last year. I haven't been keeping up with the reissues, but I know that they've already reissued this, and this is another instance where curiosity kills a cat, where I'm kind of curious to hear how the 33 sounds. Also, Analog Productions put this one out as a UHQR, I believe, right? Or was it only Sunday at the Village Vanguard? Uh, I gotta check on that. I think they also put out UHQR of Waltz for Debbie, but I could be wrong. Anyways, just absolutely phenomenal music. You hear the presence of the audience, which a lot of people might be bothered by that, but for me, it doesn't really bother me, at least. It doesn't affect the music, so that's good. So yeah, let me know if you guys like Waltz for Debbie. Let me know if you guys have a favorite Bill Evans record, Bill Evans trio, that is. Alright, so this next one I actually showed already on my Instagram probably a few weeks back. If you don't follow my Instagram, I suggest you do, because a lot of times I will show a record that I haven't shown, or I will plan to show in a later video, at least like this one right now. But this is one where I decided to go one step further, for me at least, and record a live unsealing, I guess. This is one that I've been wanting. I enjoy the music. I think, me personally, I think this sounds like a Blue Note recording, but it's on this Black Jazz label, and it sounds awesome. This is one that was put out in 1971, and this musician only ever put one record out, and it's this one. So this is Chester Thompson Powerhouse. This is on Black Jazz BJ number. What number is this actually? Number 6. 1971. Featured a quartet. Chester Thompson on organ, Raymond Pounds on drums, Rudolph Johnson on tenor sax, and Al Hall on, what is it, trombone. So a quartet that doesn't feature bass, which I guess the organ player can substitute the bass with the bass on the organ. I think that makes sense. Anyways, Chester Thompson, also known as CT, only put out this ever put out this record on vinyl. I don't know if he was ever featured on any other as a album as a sideman. I don't think he was, but you have a familiar face here, Rudolph Johnson, who put out 2 records for Black Jazz, and I think that's about it. This, like I said, sounds like a Blue Note session. Right off the bat, the first song, you get the organ playing and the tenor saxophone just blowing, and it is spectacular. I did a opening, like I said, I found this on eBay sealed for a good price, and at the time I had found a duplicate copy of Rudolph Johnson's Spring Rain on at Amoeba, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick this up. I already have a copy, but I want to see if this one is a cleaner so I can upgrade it. It was not as clean as the one that I already owned, so I decided to flip it. I'm sorry, I decided to flip it, and I used the credits to get this one. So I sold a Black Jazz for another Black Jazz record. Anyways, Real Gone. I think they put out every Black Jazz title. They reissued every Black Jazz title. I might be wrong on that, but I know this is one of the Real Gone reissues that they put out. And yeah, watch my video on Instagram if you haven't seen it already. It's short, it's sweet, I think. So check it out. But like I said, I'm happy to have this one in the collection finally. Man, the organ playing here just reminds you of. I know I already said it's 71, but it honestly reminds you of like something that would have been put out before. I don't know, mid to late 60s probably. Anyways, I'm happy to grow my Black Jazz collection, and these next 3 are Blue Notes. Kind of wanted to transition to Blue Notes here. This is one that I should have honestly. I think I can find a cleaner copy of this one, but I'm happy to still have this. Been wanting a copy for some time. This is the drummer that I've been wanting more of his stuff on Blue Note. I only have, I think, one other record of his on Blue Note as a leader, but this is Putting It Together, the new Elvin Jones trio, featuring Joe Farrell on tenor sax and Jimmy Garrison on bass, and of course, Elvin Jones on drums. This is one that I've always see online, but I've never picked up a copy, and I've been wanting this one. I love this trio. I love the musicians. I love this trio in terms of the musicians. Elvin Jones, incredible drummer. Of course, he's been on a ton of iconic recordings. Joe Farrell, who is on who made a ton of great stuff in the 70s. His early stuff is also incredible, but I still need more of. Jimmy Garrison, another cat who was in a good number of iconic recordings, I would say. And yeah, this is put out. Doesn't say the date here, but I will say it's later 60s. Putting it together. I know Music Matters touched this one as a reissue, so if it ever comes out for a Blue Note reissue, it's going to be a classic series. And yeah, this is still an easy one to get, I would say. But like I said, it has small scratches where I mean it doesn't necessarily bother me, but I know I can find a cleaner copy. And of course, it's Van Gelder on the stamp on the dead wax. So I'm happy to have this one nonetheless. The music on here is top notch as always. My favorite one on here is Kiko's Birthday March, who of course was Elvin Jones's wife at the time, and is featured on at least from what I remember is featured in like an album cover of Elvin Jones, and has probably had a not just one but probably a couple songs are named Kiko. I could be wrong on that, but powerful trio. I'm happy to have it. I want more Elvin Jones. Definitely more Elvin Jones. So the records that I'm going to be showing you guys are some I already have a classic series of reissue of. So starting off with this one, I can't believe I found a good copy for this one. I've been wanting this one for some time now. I keep saying that. I know I keep saying that. But this is one where this should, if you're a jazz fan, this is probably an essential. And this cat only put out like three uh albums as a session leader. This is the awesome drummer that he is, Pete LaRocca, Basra. This cat, I've been wanting his stuff as a leader, as a sideman, and I'm happy to have found a early reissue. It's not an original, but it's okay. It's an early copy with the Van Gelder. I've always wanted to hear this, how the Van Gelder sounds, and for the longest time I would be spinning the classic series because I absolutely love how the record sounds, how the finished product came to be, with the incredible lineup here of Joe Henderson on tenor sax, Steve Kuhn on piano, Steve Swallow on bass, and of course Pete LaRocca on drums. This makes the incredible quartet, and Pete LaRocca, like I said, only put out three albums as a leader. As a sideman, he was on a number of records. You might be surprised to see his name. You might be surprised to see his name on a recording or on a record that you might say like, "Oh wow, I didn't know Pete LaRocca was on this record." Anyways, I'm very very happy to have found this. This is has the classic stereo uh in the back. Blue Note, this is an awesome, super, super clean copy, and I would have gotten this if I had not sold some duplicates. So thank you, eBay credit, for helping me. And the disc is super clean. I mean, there's no issue whatsoever with this record, and I'm happy. I'm really, really happy. This is probably one of my favorite purchases this year. I am still looking for Pete LaRocca's uh, what is his other one called? Turkish Woman at the Bat House, which later got reissued on Muse as a Chick Corea led album. But I'm looking for that one, and I'm looking for more of him as a sideman, which I already have. Like he's featured on Sonny Rollins' uh, Village live at the Village Vanguard. He's on a couple of Joe Henderson's records. He's on a couple of, I think, Freddie Hubbard records. But yeah, he's on a lot that you will just be surprised. Like Steve Kuhn, I know that Steve Kuhn has a record. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a trio recording, and P. LaRocco's on that, and that's one that I've been looking for. I had the opportunity to buy one, but I was just not quick enough or just wasn't thinking. But anyways, I'm happy to have this one. I have not compared the classic series, and I probably won't. I'll probably still keep the classic series and just have this one and spin whatever one that I feel like spinning. All right, this next one is a very very special one for me. This is another Blue Note recording. I was fortunate to find this copy through Instagram through someone that I follow, and a Japanese seller that I've bought records from in the past, and they're always in spectacular condition. This one is no exception. Super super clean, and yeah, I thought it was a good price for it. Decided to purchase this, treat myself as a birthday present. But this is Blue Note 84163. This is special to me because this is one of the first Blue Notes I ever bought, along with another Blue Note record that I'll be talking about in a little bit. But this is Eric Dolphy's 1964 Out to Lunch. This is one that I've been wanting a Van Gelder stamp copy, and I'm very happy to have this Liberty stereo with the Van Gelder stamp. I, along with this one, I also, one of the first ones that I also bought was Herby Hancock's Maiden Voyage. I bought those two as a pair, so whenever I think of Out to Lunch, or whenever I think of Out to Lunch, I also think of Herbie Hancock's Maiden Voyage, and so forth, vice versa. Out to Lunch is one of those recordings on Blue Note where it's interesting because, you know, if you're getting into jazz, I don't think one of the first records you should listen to is this record right here, Eric Dolphy's Out to Lunch, because it's very out there, right? Out to lunch, out there, get it? But Eric Dolphy, the multi-instrumentalist that he was, incredible on in this session, along with Freddie Hubbard on trumpet, Bobby Hutcherson on vibraphones, Richard Davis on bass, and Anthony Williams, aka Tony Williams, on drums. Eric Dolphy here plays bass clarinet, alto saxophone, and the flute. He is just incredible at what he does. And I read an interesting story here. According to online sources, this record was put out in late 64. Eric Dolphy died in mid 64. I think it was June that he tragically passed away. Um, so the recording took place, I believe, either early of this of the year that this came out, or it was last year. I think it was early this of 64. Was released in August from what I've seen online. So what I'm trying to say is I don't think Eric Dolphy ever got to see the actual release of this album. There's also other stories that I've read where he was just such a nice and genuine person. Like before there was Freddie Hubbard, there was another cat that stormed off during, like, I wouldn't say rehearsals, but like these cats, all of these cats, well, except for Freddie Hubbard, um, all these cats, Bobby Hutcherson, Richard Davis, Anthony Williams, Tony Williams, and Eric Dolphy, they were recording, or they weren't recording, but they were just practicing or rehearsing for this, essentially this session. And whoever the trumpet player was, I forgot his name. He stormed off. He was like, "F this, F you, F the music, F your band. I'm out of here." And then like Eric Dolphy said, "Hey, whatever his name was, if you ever need anything, let me know. I'll be there for you." And pretty much he was just a genuine nice guy. And I believe him and the trumpet Eric Dolphy and the trumpet player were they known each other for some time because they played with like the Mingus band, and I can't remember what else they were a part of, but they've known each other for some time now, and it's just crazy to me. Like, this guy stormed off, and then we have Freddie Hubbard who took the guy's spot. And here's another one that I just remember. Like, I've been reading more about like Bobby Hutcherson because I'm still sort of on this vibraphone kick. Bobby Hutcherson did like an interview where years ago when he was still alive, where like he was talking about his early days coming up as a teenager, as a musician, like how he was born in Pasadena, right, Bobby Hutcherson, and at the time he had known Eric Dolphy. I think Bobby Hutcherson's sister was dating Eric Dolphy, but the point is, Bobby Hutcherson had known a ton of these cats early on in his age, and one of them was Eric Dolphy. So Eric Dolphy is just a genuine was a genuine person. I don't think there's anything bad that anyone has said online about Eric Dolphy in terms of who he was as a person, at least not what I've seen or read. But I just want more Eric Dolphy in my collection. I already have a good number, but I'm missing his live at the, what was it, Half Spot or whatever the Prestige album is called. Tony Williams was like 18, was just 18 when they were recording Out to Lunch. Anyways, I'm sorry for talking so much about this. This is just one that means a lot to me. So I'm very happy to have this album finally in my collection. And like I said with the Pete LaRocca, I'm gonna be keeping the classic series because I've been absolutely happy with it. But I've always wanted to hear the Van Gelder experience. I know I keep saying that, but something about like experiencing how a recording of how it came out originally, or at least later on, but with the same metalwork. Rudy Van Gelder. Here's another Rudy Van Gelder um, recording, I guess, but this is one that I think either this year or last year got a reissue from ERC. I've been wanting more of this guy. I don't have any other, I think, besides this one. This is hard to find, and I found this one on eBay, and it was they had a best offer option, and I decided to put one, and yeah, I decided to purchase one. So this is Steve Lacy Evidence with Don Cherry, two free jazz guys. I mean, these cats, I know this is early. This is probably 62 on New Jazz. This is the New Jazz right there. Steve Lacy, who later on, I guess early, he was somewhat doing the free jazz, but it was tame, as well as Don Cherry when he was recording with Ornette Coleman. But, the stuff they put out later on, whew, straight heat free jazz. This, like I said, is more tame. It's still good stuff. I enjoy the recording on here. Of course, Steve Lacy is playing soprano sax, and Don Cherry is, I'm pretty sure, is playing trumpet, or yeah, he's playing trumpet. Who else is on here? Carl Brown on bass and Billy Higgins on drums. This is what the back looks like. Has the little stereo there on the back, but this is a mono pressing, original, I think, um, with Van Gelder in the dead wax. It is in okay shape. I would say this is like VG minus. Um, I'm happy to have gotten this. I would never get those ERC. I know it's not for everyone, but a lot of people enjoy the ERC, and that's good, good, good for them. But I don't like the idea of having pressing a record, a small quantity for a record. Like they're doing what, 300, 350, 400 copies, and they go for what, $400-$500 retail. Anyways, Steve Lacy, he I know he did one. He put one record on Prestige. I'm trying to remember how many he did on Prestige, but I know one. I can't. I can only remember one that he did on Prestige, and that's the one with the yellow cover. Uh, I think there might have been more, but of course the New Jazz. Been wanting more New Jazz. This is the textured cover. If you guys can see right there, textured cover. I don't know why they decided to do the textured cover, but it's not just New Jazz that did textured cover, but it was also I think Riverside did one for Bill Evans. Anyway, Steve Lacy, Evidence with Don Cherry, two free jazz giants. I am happy to have a copy, and hopefully if the tapes are still around, which I'm assuming that they still are, this gets an OJC reissue. Um, like I said, it's not that free. So this next one is more free jazz. This is one that I probably won't be for everyone, but this is one that I've been wanting, and I've been wanting. I keep saying this, and I'll keep saying it again. More. I want more from this cat, but his stuff is hard to find for for cheap. This is on ESP, a local shop. Actually, no, Sibylline Records here in the California area, Pasadena. They put out this record, and I wanted it, but Sibylline is kind of far from me, so it's like, okay, maybe I'll find one in the near future. And then on eBay, I saw that someone listed this as an auction, and I placed my bid last second, and I won, and I'm happy that I did because I got this one for probably cheaper than what the shop was asking for. This is on ESP. This is Sonny Simmons, 1966 or 67. I can't remember the year, but 1966. Sonny Simmons, and what is this one called? I don't know the name of this one. Should I know the name of this one? Staying on the Watch by Sonny Simmons. This is an awesome free jazz album. 66. Sonny Simmons, I think later on did probably two contemporary records. He did some with his wife Barbara, which is featured on this. Barbara Donald, who plays trumpet. Let's see who else is on here. Teddy Smith on bass, John Hicks on piano, Marvin Patillo on percussion, and of course Sonny Simmons on alto sax. John Hicks, who I'm familiar with because I think John Hicks did an album on Strata East and then another one later on. I can't remember the name of, but I'm familiar with John Hicks. The rest, at least, Barbara Donald, I'm starting to familiarize with because, of course, like I said, Barbara and Sonny, they were married and they had some records with the two of them playing together. So, but yeah, Sonny Simmons, incredible free jazz. Um, what can I say about this? I mean, it's loud. It is. Would I say it's ahead of its time? I mean, a lot of people were probably already doing what Sonny Simmons was doing here, but I always love this picture. I think this is New York. Um, but yeah, Sonny Simmons and the rest of the gang, amazing. And the cover is not in the best shape, but I'm happy to have it. Well, nonetheless, the disc is probably VG or VG minus. Um, I'm I not only want more Sonny Simmons, but I also want more ESP disc records, especially the jazz ones. And those records are getting harder to find. But I'm happy to have this one finally in my collection, and that is it for this melt time. Hope to see you guys in the next one, and take care. Peace.